Okay. Based on worldwide reports, it's estimated that 150 million people, or about 2% of the world's population, are homeless, and 1.6 billion, that's more than 20% of the world's population, lack adequate housing. So entering the start of the school year, everyone around the world has experienced all the effects that COVID-19 has brought through all aspects of life. So at the beginning of the semester, when presented with the opportunity of a senior project, I decided that I wanted to do something surrounding the community in the midst of the pandemic. And I really wanted to try something like completely new to me, out of my comfort zone, to like challenge myself, like expand my knowledge, but while being able to do something that can help others and help my community. So I decided to try and learn how to make face masks for the protection against the virus, and make as much as I could this semester to donate to the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness. And so personally, I haven't had like real experience with the sewing machine, but like my family has always had one, and it's kind of just like sat in our closets for a while. So I decided to try, give it a try. So I watched hours of tutorials about making masks, and I finally found one after researching that was most effective for preventing the virus. And then I worked on that one alone and kept going at it. It took me a while to get the hang of. At first, I thought that it would be pretty simple, but it turns out I was totally wrong. So it took me a long time to figure out, but so it took me a while to figure out. And so here I have some of the stitched face masks that I made. So I have a different set of like colors and sizes. So I'll just use this one, for example. So I've used 2 pieces of fabric, and they're more thick pieces for more protection. And so I started out for at least the adult masks, I would do 9 by 7 inches, and it would look like this before it was sewn. And then for like a child or like teenage mask, it would be 8 to 6 inches. So I would cut it out to fabric, I would stitch it together, and then I would also have a separate piece that's for the nose piece alone. So that I would have to put inside the mask. And then once I did that, I added 3 pleats to it, which I used with pins, fit together, and then that would give it its shape. And then also I have the elastic bands I have attached. So this took me a bit to get down, but at the end, I finally made a total of 74 masks, which exceeded my goal that was 50. So I'll be donating those this weekend. I'll bring those down. So while I was working on my masks, I was able to research about the community that's like most susceptible to the virus, which so I studied the mental, physical, and really emotional effects that homelessness brings. And so homeless people, they encounter a lot of health issues in their lives. They're from time to time because they lack attention from people such as family members, doctors, like spouses. And because of the lack of necessities, they suffer from many different diseases, such as really common colds, like cardiorespiratory diseases, tuberculosis, nutritional deficiencies, and many more. And I also realized that mental illness with homelessness is just as potent as any physical effects that it would vary. And so something that I researched that because mental illness is so bad is because when a homeless person realizes that he or she won't have a roof to live under forever, it's really hard for someone to believe. So because of that fact of not facing like what's actually happening and seeing what reality is, it makes them less capable to take action, in which leads to them suffer psychologically as a result. And so some of the consequences is really loss of self-esteem, eventually develop behavioral problems, increased danger of substance misuse, and the loss of ability to take care of themselves. And something else that I came across when I was researching is that if you're born or eventually develop an underlying health condition, or you have a mental trauma disorder or been sexually assaulted or abused in your life, you have a significantly higher chance of becoming homeless than anyone else. 1 in 66 people who already had a long-lasting health issue became homeless, and 72% had a mental health condition for becoming homeless as well. And, after researching more and more, you could see that there's a direct correlation between how there is a lot of problems with healthcare systems around the world that aren't equipped for everyone's needs and fail to help certain people with medical conditions for correct treatment and medication for a price that's reasonable for them. And because of that and healthcare expenses, that significantly leads to homelessness. And so throughout my project, I also read about and watched many different stories of people from all different backgrounds around the world. And I learned that from each story that I noticed to be repeating is that they felt as if they didn't necessarily change. That their IQ didn't drop, their values, their integrity, but somehow they would say that they changed. And I each story that they changed how they perceive the world around them and themselves, because they felt that everyone looked on them, society they looked down upon, and the fact that they weren't worth as much as other people and they didn't deserve lives that other people had. And they just felt like people didn't acknowledge the fact that they also exist. And reading these stories, really, it was just so awful reading these, and I felt so sad about it. And after reading it, I really felt like it was our responsibility as citizens to make them feel like that's not true, that's not the case, and just make them feel like we are giving back to them and we need to help them more. And I'm sure, as you know, as of right now, we're experiencing one of the highest unemployment and homelessness rates in our world's history because of the pandemic. And this factor alone is why the world now needs more people to give back than ever before. And love and happiness is one of the most important aspects. But, in every story I read, I realized that each person no longer had that, and they lost hope. They had no one left to love, and they felt as if no one loved them. And so I feel as though it's our responsibility to give back to them and make a difference in their lives and show them that there is love in the world and that we still love and care for everyone. So really overall, I believe that, giving back and contributing to society is unparalleled. It's a great way to know your community and its citizens, as well as making a difference in someone's life while continuing to strengthen your own community as well. It also gives you a sense of purpose and fulfillment for caring for people in need. So today, I encourage all of you to expand your horizons and look for opportunities to help and give back to others, because it will give you a sense of purpose and fulfillment, and you will feel like you're doing something for the world, but you're also directly changing other people's lives, which this project definitely made me feel like I was really helping, and it's a great thing to do for others. So I think it's an amazing way to give back to other people, to make their life better and yours as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Kristina. What an awesome and timely project. Does anyone have any questions for Kristina?
I have a question. What do you think the hardest thing was about this project? Was it just researching on how to make the mask, or did you mess up a ton of times before you could really get the rhythm of it, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I messed up a ton of times. It was really challenging to get the hang of at first. I think mostly just how much time it took. I didn't realize how much time a single mask would take, and I would be just sewing away in the weekend. I'd realize 3-4 hours have passed, and oh my god. So it took a lot of time, I felt and that was kind of the time constraints was the hardest part.
I got a question. So, as you did your research, did you find out which fabric would be best? Like
Yeah.
which type?
Yeah. So I found out that it's like what I got. So it was a type of like linen and kind of cotton fabrics that I found that were the best protecting the virus. So that's what I used for my project.
Thank you so much for sharing your talk with us this morning, Kristina. Nice job.
Thank you.